Chapter 6 Insults. Tai Zhu was silent as Wang Zhua, in a derisive tone, said, "I have said before that this kid didn't have any talent. All he did was go and lose face for our family. I passed on the first test, so I didn't see him until later on. A few days later, I heard that he failed all 3 tests. He might as well not have gone. I would have preferred it if fourth uncle's son had gone instead." Tai Zhu's fourth uncle frowned and said, "Wang Zhua, even if you're going to become an immortal, what can you possibly know about what my son can or can't do?" The audacity! There was a flash of coldness in Wang Zhua's eyes. He quietly laughed, but didn't say anything. Tai Zhu's father suddenly looked like he had aged more than 10 years and fell down to his seat. Tai Zhu's mother was also shocked. She couldn't believe what was happening. She asked, "Tai Zhu, is this true?" Tai Zhu bit his lip until it started bleeding. He fell to the ground and cowed out a few times. He whispered, "Mom, Dad, Tai Zhu wasn't selected by the immortals. I'm sorry, I will repay you both in the next life." Tai Zhu's mother realized her son was in despair. She quickly ran and helped Tai Zhu to his feet. She whispered, "Child, don't worry. So what if you weren't selected by the immortals? Next year there is the district exam. Child, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't do anything stupid either. Your father and mother still expect you to be at our funerals." Tai Zhu's father snapped out of his daze. He realized the kind of mental state Tai Zhu was in. His heart trembled, and he quickly ran up to his son. Holding him, he nervously said, "Tai Zhu, you better not do anything stupid. Listen to your dad. Let's go home and study hard for next year's district exam." The surrounding relatives quickly moved away from Tai Zhu's family. They all gathered around as if they were watching a show, gossiping and sharing comments about the event unfolding before them. Tai Zhu's sixth uncle quipped, "I always knew that this Tai Zhu kid didn't have any talent. How could he compare to Wang Zhua?" "Totally right. Since this was bound to happen, why act like he was already accepted? How shameful. Lao Er, you are this old already. How could you still do something so stupid? No wonder Dad didn't give you a share of the inheritance back then," said Tai Zhu's third uncle sarcastically. "If you asked me, the story that this kid has always been smart since he was a child was fabricated. It was probably because Lao Er knew that he himself was a failure. He tried to raise his son's reputation by lying, and now he's been exposed," said Tai Zhu's fifth uncle, whose face had turned ugly. A female relative scoffed. "Out of the 3 children that went to test, only he failed. Tai Zhu is the worst child in our Wang family. Second sister-in-law, I earlier said you had good fortune with second brother. Now it seems like your luck will keep dwindling for the rest of your life." Tai Zhu's fifth aunt also sneered. "Isn't that right? When I went to see Tai Zhu a few days ago, I was wondering how he could compare to Wang Hao and Wang Zhua at all." Another female relative mercilessly said, "I had already seen that kid Tai Zhu didn't have any talent. Just look at his mom and dad. How could they give birth to anyone good? In our Wang family, only eldest brother and third brother's kids are any good. Tai Zhu, bah, just with that name he sounds like an idiot. I was totally blind back then, about to push my daughter into a pit of fire. Good thing we found out beforehand that Tai Zhu wasn't selected by the immortals. My daughter would have hated me forever if I had her marry him. Tai Zhu's mom, let us forget about this whole thing. Since your Tai Zhu won't become an immortal, who would want their daughter to marry him? Isn't that like a toad wanting a swan's meat?" In a few moments all the relatives turned into snobs. They continuously launched a barrage of insults at Tai Zhu's family. Compared to the previous scene, it was like heaven and earth. There were even relatives who went as far as to ask for the gifts they gave back. Seeing his parents' pale faces, Taishu tightened his fist. Listening to all the insults left him wishing he was dead. Wang Zhu's father laughed inwardly, and sneered. Lao heir, didn't I tell you that to become an immortal's disciple, you need fate on your side? How could there possibly be any chance unless you have talent like my son? Yet you seriously believed it would be possible. Now you made your son wish he was dead. Was there a need for this? Taishu's father couldn't hold in his anger any longer. He shouted, Wang Tianshan, shut your mouth! Back in the day, father on his deathbed left me a part of the inheritance. You worked with the other relatives to steal it away from me, and now you are here insulting me. Do you really think I, Wang Tianshui, will quietly endure this? And all of you people as well. Earlier you were happily congratulating me, and now you are here insulting us. Our son is already in this state, yet you add insult to injury. Are you all still human? Wang Tianshan paused for a moment and said, Why bring up the past? I warned you with good intentions that your son didn't have any talent, but here you are being angry at me. Humph, with a dad like you, the son won't be much better. All the insults thrown at the crestfallen Wang Lin were like thorns piercing his heart. He coldly looked at everyone and engraved their faces into his heart. I'll fight you to the death. Taishu's father couldn't hold in his anger any longer and picked up a chair. Taishu's fourth uncle rushed up and stopped him, whispering, Brother, don't be impulsive. Elder brother has many servants. Listen to me, don't bother with him. Taishu's fourth uncle glared at Wang Tianshan and said, Eldest brother, is that any way to talk? I will not listen to this any longer. If you dare to keep insulting my second brother, don't blame me for not caring about family ties. While the Wang family is big, I have made many friends during my travel. Don't push me to burn it all. Wang Tianshan murmured a few words. He still feared the well-connected fourth brother. Lao Si, what you are saying is unreasonable. We aren't wrong in pointing out that Lao heir's son doesn't have any talent. What's wrong with us, the older generation, scolding the younger? What you're saying is too unreasonable, said the family's third eldest uncle with discontent.